Great light and love of living Father. Just want to bring some other people's ideas of what I'm speaking to help those that are not knowing or those that are not knowing of what could be going on, if you know what I'm saying.
I have this version. What Vice President Bush? Anyone know what Vice President Bush called this in 1980? Anyone? Something DOO economics, voodoo economics.
Let's dig deep into the English language real quick. But first, let's look at the concept of the power of words. The first to ever speak was God, and we see that in the book of Genesis. His mighty words created the very essence of all beauty we see today. And guess what? When he made us in his image, we too, as his children, were given power by the way of words. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21 says, death and life are in the power of the tongue. What did Satan use to deceive Eve? Words. Proverbs 15 and 4 says that a soothing tongue is a tree of life. Now, the original tree of life in the garden was a foreshadow of Jesus Christ. So if God said that a soothing tongue is a tree of life, that lets us know how serious and powerful words can be. In the book of Numbers, God told Moses to speak to the rock, and that all he had to do was speak to it, and it would bring forth water for the mixed multitude to drink. He was trying to show Moses the power that he embedded in him through even his words. God was teaching him. Let's fast forward to the English language. I've been telling everyone we are under British Roman rule. This English language we speak now was remastered and flipped, and they included spells in it around the 1500s in Shakespearean time. For instance, they tell us in school to complete the sentences. But when we read the word of God in Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 10, God introduces sentences as judgment that the Levites would have to hand down to people when they had to inquire a matter. And also today, when someone goes before a judge, they fall under a form of sentencing. So in school, when they tell you to complete the sentences, they are basically telling you you fall under their judgment, which that's all school is, a place where you are judged by a school system as well as your peers to see if you can beat the game and avoid being weeded out of Satan's demonic pyramid. They call the class grammar, but grammar is derived from the word grimoire, which means book of spells. And that's why in school, you learn how to spell and you write in cursive to curse. So basically, the witches and warlocks have placed their doctrine in the schools and in this language to be very deceptive in these days. Even the vowels they give you to say, A, E, I, O, U, having you say I, O, U so much without you knowing it makes you subconsciously accept being in more debt. This also coincides when you ask a person how they are doing and they say, I am doing fine. And we also associate a fine with monies that must be paid. This is also why in most protests after these sacrifices, you hear them repeat over and over, justice, justice. They are called chants, and chants derive from witchcraft, i.e. how we get enchantress. We were made in God's image, and that image includes power in words. Matthew 21:22 states, whatever you ask in prayer, you shall receive. We are trapped in the language of double meaning. Like if someone says, which song will I listen to today? You get it? Which song will I listen to? Or her hair is dyed. Dyed there representing coloration, but we all know that dye means death. You see the subconscious trap now? Let's keep it going. If I ask you, where is your brother? I haven't seen him in a while, and you respond with, you know what? I'm afraid I don't know. Why are you afraid? Or you meet someone on your way to work and you say, good morning. And morning is what people do when deaths occur. So you were afraid, now you're in mourning. Subconsciously in a state of grief. To be honest, we are speaking in a language that is totally against the life of man. We also awake in the morning, but awake is a funeral party for the dead. Now, the kids of the younger generation today, when you say something funny, they quick to say, I'm dead. I'm dead. Wow. Somehow we are so unaware of the death in this language. Just like we are unaware that we call our televisions TV sets and only actors go on sets. What they've been trying to tell you the whole time is your TV is feeding you nothing but actors all day long. And we go through weekdays. Why can't they be strong days? They are weak days. So we can go to work to earn a living. And we also know that urns are containers that hold the ashes of the dead. So when you earn the living, you are actually speaking of killing someone who's alive. And also jobs are called undertakings, and undertakings are associated with the dead. When our kids complete a grade in school, we say they passed. And we also know to say that someone who died has passed. When we greet most people, we do so by saying hello. See, these witches and warlocks, they thought if we can keep them thinking about the hell that's low, they would never focus on God's kingdom that's high. We have to be careful of these double meanings. Words have vibrations. We are what we eat, and not only do we eat through our mouths, but also through our ears. We eat and digest words daily through our ears, and we constantly feed death via this English language. We're being fed this death. The Lord tells us in James 3:8, no man can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil full of deadly poison. Only the Holy Spirit can free you from the curse of the English language. This is why God has what is called the heavenly tongue. And when it is used, we call it today speaking in tongues. It is a tongue that not even Satan himself can decipher. This video is to shine light on the deceptive language they have fed us all this time. Not only are they feeding us plastic with the food and having us living basically check to check, but they also have us speaking death in the language they've provided. Once you realize the enemy, then you will notice how important it is to accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior today. Because no one under the blood of Christ will be a victim of this curse that they want to destroy us all.
A lot of you have been up.
Used in our vocabulary. All right, I want to talk about another word that is frequently used in our vocabulary and how we're using it in a word that we always put in front of it. The word that I really want to focus on is attention. All right. About another word that is frequently used in our vocabulary and how we're using it in a word that we always put in front of it. The word that I really want to focus on is attention. Okay. And I want to talk a little bit about how attention to some people is currency. Well, technically to all people, attention is currency. Attention is energy that many people need in one way or another. Now, listen, you ever notice that whenever someone talks about attention, they always put the word pay in front of it? They'll say, pay attention. Or why can't you pay attention? Or what are you paying attention to? So that also validates my reasoning about the word actually holding more value as currency than our conscious and subconscious mind is really connected to. Attention is currency, right? So to break it down even further, in order for a man, a high value man,
A lot of you have been out.
attention is currency. Attention is energy that many people need in one way or another. Now look, you ever notice that whenever a man, a high value man or a man at all, to attract a woman, he has to attract her attention, and it usually is by how tall he is, how muscular he is. Then they look at how much money he's got. Those are the first things they usually see visually, just when they first see a man, before they've even had an opportunity to have a conversation with you, right? So a certain kind of man is going to demand more attention than other men. This creates the percentiles that we refer to when we say 1% or the upper 20% or everyone below, right? So when in reference to women get attention based on what they look like. Men are not really interested in what women make. We're more interested in what their past looks like, because we don't want a hoe at home as a wife, trying to raise our children basically to be other hoes. Feel me? So attention is currency, and we need to figure out how to stop trapping how this energy is moving, right? And we also need to be cognitive of the fact that the whole way the word pay has usually been put in front of that word, basically letting us know that you have to figure out the proper way to get the proper attention in order to get the things that you want in life. So that being said, I just wanted to share a little something about those words and a little flip on it. And, let's move energy properly by being aware of how we move in energy. That's all. That's all I'm trying to, or not even trying to, but here to inspire. All right. It's just under 4 minutes. I'm out of here. Peace. Somebody walks up to you and says, "How are you doing today?" And you say, "I'm doing fine, thank you." Or "I'm fine, thank you." Fine. Yeah. Fine. Another definition for the word is when somebody is charging you a fee or a fine for something that you have done or not done. It means you owe someone some money. But trip on this. Look at one of the first things they teach you when you get to school. Here in America, one of the first things they teach us when we get to school is they teach us the vowels. And the vowels go A, E, I, O, U. Supreme energy IOU. That's actually what that says. AEIOU breaks down as supreme or first and energy, and then IOU, right? It is a word that puts you in a state of submittance to another. Inferior. It makes you inferior to another. And it puts the other thing superior. So people who are able to pay attention to a lot of these things won't see how these things are hidden spells and hidden traps. So I just identify and break down, identify and break down, identify and break down. And that's all I can do. My man Newer calling me. I'm going to have to hit him right back. Yeah, I just identify and break down some more and then keep it pushing like that. You feel me? So let's be cognitive and aware when someone walks up to us next time and asks us how we are doing. Let's be careful with the word fine from now on. My analytics tells me that 70% of the people watching my channel aren't subscribed.
If Satan ruled the world and he had a unified language, what language would everyone speak? That's right, English. Did you know that English is a Germanically derived, occult-influenced language? Why do you think our language is called spelling? Other languages do not derive their vocabulary words from witchcraft terms. The words in the English language were crafted by known occultists, like Sir Francis Bacon, whom you may not have heard of, but you probably heard of a secret writing group called the Spear Shakers, or should I say Shakespeare? Yeah, William Shakespeare was not a real person. And we know that because the writing styles in his different stories are drastically different. William Shakespeare is responsible for introducing 1,700 words into our vocabulary. William Shakespeare was not a real person. He was a group of individuals ran by Sir Francis Bacon, a known occultist, who had an agenda. He had an agenda to normalize witchcraft into our everyday speech. Speaking of normalizing things, what do you think Hollywood is? Hollywood is the wood that witches and wizards use to craft their wands and staves out of. It's a derivative of Hollywood. Yeah, Hollywood. It's an extension of witchcraft. And to this day, it continues to craft our language even further.
The Hollywood viewing point is marked with a black drop.
I feel like all words
So what do I mean by the secret spells of the English language? Well, let me share with you what I call our premier life sentence. And it goes something like this. We awake each morning and go off during the weekdays to earn the living at various jobs and undertakings until we come to the weekend. And this seems perfectly acceptable to most people. However, more people die between 6 and 9 on a Monday morning than any other time of the week. So I do what I call a translation of the English language, and I spell that Trance with the idea that words cast spells. So when you translate that life sentence, you remember that awake is a funeral party for the dead. Mourning is the state you're in when you attend a wake. And you would have to be in a weekdays to earn the living, since urns are for the ashes of the dead. We call our jobs undertakings. Job itself is a Hebrew word for persecuted. And what we get at the end of this perverse bargain with life is the weak end of the deal as we become progressively weakened ourselves. And so our most prevalent greeting to each other is hello, the reverse of which is, oh, hell. And at first, I suspected the hands of collusion entangling the language to foster illusion. And I think it's quite true that a culture's theology has a great deal to do with the word's etymology and how it evolves over time to combine incompatible meanings that may undermine the original thoughts it was meant to define. But now, I don't think it's planned. For the thing that I've found is that like concepts can gravitate toward the same sound and vibrate at the rate that our thoughts designate. Because words are electromagnetic vibrations whose fine alphabetic tintinnabulations can take on the tint of our true expectations, which they then imprint on our metal of mind, causing sounds to adhere when they're of the same kind.
The hidden spells of the English language. Could it be that the internationalization of the English language is part of the global agenda to include us all in this worldwide witchcraft? Let's investigate. This is not our world. This is not our world. That's why you learn spelling. Everyone who learns English needs to learn how to spell and write. Language is language, which means by definition they want us to be witches that lack spirit or liveliness, forced onto the world as an international standard to control us with witchcraft. Language is not natural. In nature, animals communicate with signs, symbols, music, and intention. Human beings can communicate with signs, symbols, and intentions and telepathy as well. It happens with me and my wife regularly. In your dream, do you open your mouth when you speak? We communicate in our dreams telepathically without language. Language is an attempt to cut off the connection from our intuition. Same pronunciation, but different meaning to confuse us. We can also refuse to use language and spelling and use intention and telepathy instead. In the morning, we say good morning like we're starting our funeral day. Then we greet our friends with a hello. During the weekdays, we work our ass off. You have to be in the weekdays to earn a living. At the end of the week, we have final weekend. So we only went to work to earn the ash wages of our death. On Sunday, the sun-worshipping Christians go to church to bless. They don't realize they go there to bless. You pray, you become a prey of the dog, I mean God. But Masons read backwards. They do everything in reverse. Christians feel the evil, but the word reversed is live. And the Masons know this. Reverse devil, and it's lived. Okay, is that enough about religion? Let's talk about power politics and how it all relates to electricity. You cast your votes to the politicians to be in charge. From birth, you are a corporation, a dead entity for those in power. During war, you may see flesh that is raw and have flash memories of a gun that is long gone. Logos, the words, symbolize corporations. But what am I talking about? This world is about divide and conquer and separation. 7 ratio, 7 days, 7 mountains in Vatican, 7 chakras, all symbolic. The resources of this world are mined, and it starts with the mind because they mine our minds. We have water resources and human resources as well. Humans are kept as communities in this flat earth prison asylum. The doctors don't know shit about humans. They give us pills that make us sick and ultimately kill us. When you take that drugs, don't go cold turkey because you'll be amazed how powerful these drugs are. Instead, quit the habit by decreasing the dose incrementally and eat organic free-range grass-fed turkey out of the oven, even though it's not cold immediately. Nor is the country turkey cold, but I digress. As a last resort, the doctors offer you a surgery so that you can stay in the current life. By the way, in the library, we can learn about surgery, but also about fake history. For instance, we can read about kings that played on liars, but we know they are liars. Of course, there's just an opinion, and mainstream will say, we are going, of course. Most don't realize that what real eyes can see are real lies. For instance, skincare corporations sell you shampoo. Why do you buy that shameful shit? Then there is nuclear hoax that apparently by splitting the atom, they can blow up a whole country. I'm telling you, Adam, it's crazy. Imagine, there are people living in America not realizing USA is the new Jerusalem established by the Zionist Jews. Talking about Americans, it just occurred to me that they say holy cow, yet they don't believe the cow is holy. That's what Indians believe. The same Americans say Jesus Christ when they hear something mind-boggling, not Hare Krishna. It's all messed up. So let's clean it up with some water. A dam is to stop the flow of the water current, and you can easily stop the flow of the current conversation by saying dam. Let's keep the ship on course and talk about sports. In a box ring, you see men fight, but when you propose, the ring is in a box. If you are already talking about marriage, do you realize that when you propose kneeling to a woman, you symbolize subservient status to her as a man? And you miss out on so much if you are not married. Well, you need testes to make children, but are you aware that making children is a test? And when you hear a rape story, do you think of an R-rated ape? You never stop courting because when you want to divorce her, although no longer court her, but you go to court and you court the judge. The judge allow us to divorce while thinking to themselves, these people are all low. Next time I live stream, I may talk about this in more detail, but for now, let's not talk about relationships. Here's another hardship, as it's all related to sea and admiralty law. You lie down, sleep, and dream, but what if they lie? And you are actually living another life when you dream. Life is full of lies. Do you see what I mean? If our intentions are good, what does it matter that the English language is full of spells, you may ask? Well, the subconscious mind may not differentiate as easily as our conscious mind, nor do we have clear intentions all the time. And that's it for me for today. Thanks everyone for your support. If you want to support my work, don't contemplate, send another shipload of cash from your earning. Just visit my website, click on support me page, go to the donate button and kick in a couple of bucks so that I can continue producing this content. See you on the next one.
Okay, y'all, we're about to continue on with the second part of one of my favorite lessons, the spelling spell. This is one of my favorite things to teach and to show and prove that not only can we have a great command of this language and these words, regardless of where they come from and their origins, but I also like to show and prove that my young brothers and sisters, my nieces and my nephews, it's not because of any shortcoming of your own that you may have difficulty spelling or you may have had difficulty spelling. I like to show and prove through this teaching by the will of the Creator that there is indeed some tricks in the mix that help make spelling a difficult thing, especially for those whose heritage and ancestry taught them to write the correct way. And so, and again, I just want to say, I'm DPS. This is DPS in full effect. Detroit Public Schools, K through 12. Never went to private school. Always had a knack for letters and spelling. And I just want to share that small gift with you guys. And I want you to pass it on to your nieces and to your nephews, your little cousins, your sons and daughters, and let them be able to see that they can take a grasp of this language. There's puzzles within puzzles in these words, and if you write rhymes, you will find this especially interesting. Okay, in Harry Potter, first and foremost, I am eternal, guide my tongue and my mind, in alignment with your will. In Harry Potter, you find lots of spells being cast by he and his classmates, and they use real Latin words in their spells. Well, I find it ironic that many of the words that English is comprised of, to find the etymology of these words, one must go back to Latin, which is the language of Rome, and you will find that the tonology in Latin has a lot to do with this, but there's a certain energy behind the pronunciation of a word that can transform it from just an ordinary word with one meaning into a magic word, for lack of a better definition. An example of that is we mispronounce coincidence and we mispronounce ignorance, and I will show and prove that on the next pages. But let's continue. So in Harry Potter, you find this propensity for Latin. The same thing you find as you examine the language, you will find that its roots stretch far and wide. True, I know about this. Many words come from Arabic and Hebrew and all sorts of sources. Of course, Native American. So many words in the English language, and none of them, of course, are original. The English language itself is a bastard language, and we will show and prove that when they say bastard language, it's not a slander. It is a truth indeed. A bastard meaning that it has no true father, no true root. The father is the root, and there's no true root, but many roots. And like a mother who is hoard about, it's hard to tell which one is really the originator, which one is truly the father. So you have diction versus definition. Again, it is the way words are pronounced that makes this language so difficult for foreign-born people to master and to grasp. Not the definitions of the words, but the pronunciations, phone and rough, tough. Why are these words spelled this way? Who designed this and what felt? Well, we said in the earlier part, we talked about the devil and Daniel Webster. If you missed the first part, you missed a nice little taste. So you might want to go back and check it out. How do I know about these things? Well, some of this I learned in my studies of Nuwapu, and it was brought out of me really by those teachings, but the root was already there because the Almighty Creator had put it in me from a child to have a fascination with letters. I had my little plastic letters that you have the little magnets on the back of, and you put on your little magnetic chalkboard. And my letters each had personalities, and I maintained that I didn't give these letters these personalities. Something was playing with me. I was the only child and teaching me the personalities of these letters. R was a male, S was a sassy female, K was a slickster type of letter, male, and this was, these were like action figures. T was a male, And these were action figures to me. And I maintain I didn't know how to spell that many words. I'm sure at the time I was playing with this thing, the house we stayed in, I was only there for the first grade and kindergarten. So let's move forward. We want to drop a little scripture, because scripture, whether you trace the origin back further than what biblical scholars will readily admit or not, it doesn't matter. The scripture, the power in the scripture is it true? Is it 100? What's understood need not be explained. Can you understand it? So we go to Proverbs 19:2. Also that the soul be without knowledge, it is not good. And he that hasteth with his feet sinneth. Of course, we also know that it says that our people, my people, shall perish for lack of knowledge. And in 18:4, the words of a man's mouth are as deep waters, and the wellspring of wisdom as a flowing brook. The words of a man's mouth. Lots of importance about words and the tongue. Of course, we know about Proverbs 18:21, the very famous death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Don't worry, we're finna jump right back into it. Don't squirm and worm, anti-Christian spirit. I bind you up. You know, we ain't gonna be mad at nobody's belief system. It may not be mine, it may not be yours. So it's not gonna bother us one way or the other. We're gonna break down the truth for every sister and brother. So let us continue. All right. Some people may already be able to jump the gun on these. Of course, we know that those who are believers of Scripture, whether it be Torah or Christian beliefs, many of you go to worship on Sunday. Well, this has to do with the fact that in ancient times, there was a propensity for worship of things in nature. And one of those things in nature that has been worshipped more than any other object in the natural or cosmic physical world around us, that is the sun. And it is Sunday because there was a movement to mix in the pagan worship, the worship of nature, along with the growing belief system that we now call Christianity, that was not called that then, it was called the Way. So the Way, the way of our brother, revolutionary and king of the Hebrews, Yeshua, the Messiah, in order to mix in the worship of the sun in with his way, a lot of things were done. Some things done with the very word sun, S-O-N and S-U-N. The Sunday becomes the Sunday, the day for the sun, where you go and worship in your Christian belief systems, where you go and worship the sun, S-O-N. Really, you're worshiping the sun, S-U-N. And all of that wordplay, you know, why we call the thing in the sky that's bright and shines and gives off heat, why do we call it the same thing that you call your male child? And that, again, has to do with the understanding of the sacred words, the S-word, S-word, sword. The word is the sword, but the sacred word that you find hidden in the regular words we use each and every day. And the sacred word is a Masonic concept. It's really just a code for magic word. Now, many people say ignorance is somebody you don't know. Well, you can look right at the word itself, and don't say that anymore, y'all. Don't say that no more, because that's not what it is. You can see right here in the word itself, you got 5 letters right here that constitute a word that already has a meaning. And the meaning is to know something is there and choose not to see it. That is ignorance. So ignorance is not people that don't know. You're ignorant of something, it's because you're ignoring it.
Which is nice.
Information. And to you witches out there who are trying to pray for my downfall, we shall not suffer a witch to live. We'll send warrior angels to cause your heart to stop. Information. Now, inform, like a military troop gets in Formation. Everybody get in formation. Ready? Hood. In formation. That's what that's about. Inform. To get informed, to shape yourself up, to get yourself together. Put yourself together from the raggedy shape that you in. You need information or knowledge. Now, your Smiths, your goldsmith, your James Todd Smith, no, your goldsmith, your ironsmith, arrowsmith. Well, a goldsmith, a smith is one who works or fashions a thing. A goldsmith fashions gold. An ironsmith fashions iron. Well, what does an arrowsmith do? Well, it walks this way. No, an arrowsmith fashions the air by way of aeromancy, which is air magic. You got necromancy, which is magic using the dead. And you have crystalmancy, which is magic using crystals. And unless you really know how to make an ephod like a true Hebrew, you need to leave your crystals and your stones at home, okay? Because you really don't know what you're doing. You're relying on books that are written by either academics who belong to secret societies, who have an agenda to deceive you, or you're reading them as they're written by individuals who practice these arts and who are being deceived themselves and actually need to trap you and bargain you off in order to gain more power and influence from the spirit realm. Sometimes they need a bait and they will use you as bait. My father showed me this in his magic books. He showed me the illustration, and he had some old books. He showed me the old way that they used to show you in the magic books that you get from academia, that the magician would stand inside of the Stargate, inside of the sacred circle, what they call the pentagram inside of the circle, the Stargate, Stairway to Heaven, Tower of Babel. When you stand inside of this thing, you were told that was for your protection. It was a protective circle and you stand inside of it. But in reality, what it is a gateway, like gateway computers, and out through the gateway comes the fallen angel or the shining star, no matter who you are. And what a coincidence. We're jumping ahead of ourselves. Inference, interference, confidence, refer, hence to refer, hence to confide, hence to interfere, hence to infer. What about this one? Hence to coincide. Wait a minute, hold on. I thought a coincidence is something that happens that doesn't have anything to do with something else. So you dismiss it. Because what it is the universal laws, the Almighty set in motion, trying to show you something in real life, real time. And instead of you making note, because we learn by comparison and contrast, instead of you making note of the comparison, oh, wow, this happened. And yeah, that happened a couple of days ago. It reminds me of this. This happening now. And then you draw a conclusion. You make comparison or contrast. You draw a conclusion. Well, if you don't believe in coincidence, if you're not pronouncing it right, your diction isn't proper because of the dictionary telling you to say coincidence, you should use the diction of coincide, hence, like you did with refer and confide and interfere and infer before. But when you get down here, you say this the wrong way. You say coincident instead of coincide. Trick reveal. And many of my brothers and sisters, my young brothers and sisters who feel as if you're not adequate at spelling, it has to do with the fact that your ancestry and the Eastern world itself wrote these words the right way, starting from the right and moving to the left. The books were opened the other way, the way that we open our books and progress through a book is backwards. It's supposed to go the other way, okay? But the back, what you think is the back being the front, for real. It's part of the backwards world that we live in that Luciferians revel in, because you find backward masking and you find the turning around of words You find the turning around of nature, man to woman and woman to man, and all sorts of blasphemous, freaky things going on simply because of turning things the wrong way. So when a child has something within them genetically that will not allow them to read things the wrong way, which is the way we go, we are going the wrong way, left to right. Things don't start at the left or the west. Things start at the east or the right. And again, we know, well, who's surveys? You know, I know all of that. We don't listen. Don't play sim antics with me. You're not paying attention here. Don't play sim antics, Semite antics. So again, we're dealing with words as they're understood by the masses. If you on that level, then you probably shouldn't be watching this in the first place. So watch it. Dyslexia. This, of course, disrespect. It's the same dis. Disassociate. It's the same dis. The Y and the I are one and the same. The original spelling for ISIS is YS. YS. Because Y and I are originally the same. Yah in the Greek is IA. And of course, we know what it was in the Hebrew, the YA. They say with the hey behind it, the Yah, hey, Yah. The Yah, the Aleph, and the hey. But again, this meaning against, we all know that, or anti, or the negative of something, something, disrespect, the negative of respect, not to respect, against respect. Lex, a lexicon. Lex means law. Okay, it's Latin word for law. Then you got Yah in Greek. The Greek, remember Greek and Latin is like Highland Park in Detroit. If you're from where I'm from, you really understand it. But if you're not, that totally was irrelevant. But these things were very closely related because you have the Roman society coming out of the Greek society, the more ancient society, Greco-Roman. So again, you have Yah, you have law, and you have this. And so we can put this together. 3 syllables. Syllables are nothing but baby words too. Y'all keep that in mind. When they say a syllable, you know, they play tricks with words. That's why I'm not going to, because that's devilish. And we're not doing this for any devilish purposes. So they play tricks with words, and you'll find syllables are nothing but baby words the majority of the time. We could even look back at some of the words I've already shown, and you can see many of the syllables themselves are actual little words. If you do your research and get you an etymological dictionary, you'll be able to see, or just do it online, etymology, look it up. You'll be able to see the origin of words, and you'll see, again, you'll see that many of the syllables that we think are just little pieces of words themselves were actually whole words. So against the law of God is what we have with dyslexia. So to read the thing the wrong way, to force these kids to read it the wrong way, to cause the children to suffer, when Yeshua says suffer not the little children, because you're frustrating them and giving them all of this magic and witchcraft and sorcery, as opposed to actually allowing them to learn. You're taming them through eduter, which is a word for tame, where we get educate from. You're taming them, and this is against the law of Yah, against the law of the Most High, the Almighty God, whatever you want to call it, just call it. Let's move on. And I want to give a big shout out to my brother, Brother Lawrence, down there in Fort Worth, Texas. We will be fellowshipping soon. And I give a shout out to his church, the IOG. Again, you know, steel sharpens steel, and this is warfare. And it's good to confess to one another, but it's also good to learn from one another and not to be too arrogant to accept counsel. And I look forward to finding what I can learn from those brothers and being in their city. And we're going to make that happen in anybody else, anywhere else, especially if you're from what would be considered an urban impoverished area or a ghetto. You holler at me, and if we can make it happen, if you can get me there, that's all I require, is that you get me there. and we'll tear it down a little taste if you like what you've been seeing so far. Okay, so a lot of my brothers have been enthralled with the teachings of Kemet. And again, this would be all lovely if we didn't have to get them from the enemy. If we didn't have to get them from Boule members, Black Secret Society members, Masonics and or academics, sure, I'd be all with you. But when you test the spirit by the spirit, see, this is something that you got to use your head to get into. And if you try to use your spirit, you find yourself lost. As I did, and you will end up chasing a form of African-based spiritism, Aquarian Age, Black version, which is the original version, the original Aquarian Age. But again, I digress. So another example, like we saw with the blonde, bland example, KMT. Now, people assume that there should be an E there, but what we've learned about language and what is the original, we've learned about the A. And I believe that's on the next page. So I'm going to say that for the next page. And, I maintain it should be Kahmat. Ka happens to mean spirit, and we know what Mat means. And it would make more sense if it was Kahmat than commit. But again, how do I know? I don't. But that's what I get from my spirit. Now, you can take that from my brother spirit, who's nothing but a po-righteous teacher with no agenda, or you can take it from your mans and thems who got plenty things to sell you and BS to tell you.
Literally.
All right, let's move on. Oh, yes. So, again, you find the same thing, and you find the hard sounds, the S and the N, that's the hard sound. Now, S is nothing but a backward Z. Same sound, Z, same sound. And the N, which looks like a Z laid back on his back. But the N is another hard sound. So you can put different letters in between there and you'll get different things. But right now, I want to deal with this combination because this is a word that's very polarizing, sin. And we know we also find in the Old Testament, it's also spelled the original way, Zen. There's controversy over which one was first, and I can show you why. The S or the Z. On the next page, we'll get off into that just a little bit. I tend to believe that they both existed around the same time, but again, how do we know? But now, the I here, we can replace with the Y, and we can find the same sin as in synthetic. Can you find a relationship between that, synthetic and sin? Against the laws of nature, perhaps, or a synthesizer and sin, maybe, perhaps. Zen, can you find a relationship between the Buddhist concept of Zen, perhaps, and the wilderness of Zen? Does Buddhism free your mind and keep you in freedom, or does it put you in a bondage or wilderness? I don't know. No, I know. Maybe you don't know. But I know. And I believe you do too, my beloved brothers and sisters. Love y'all. Kali. Kali is a Hindu deity of destruction. And again, we have Dr. Oppenheimer's reference when he created the atomic bomb and when they first exploded it, and his press statement where he talked about the story of Kali and how Kali was the destroyer. So we have a destroyer god here. Then we have the thorn, which I believe we looked at that in another video already. The F and the P, look at them. It's the same letter with a little hump right there. And fornicate used to be pornicate. The P is older. Excuse me for the other video where I said I wasn't sure about that because they're both pretty old. But the P, it was older because we had to deal with the deity porne, a demonic force of spirit energy where you get pornography from. Pornication and fornication, same thing. Pornography, same thing. And then Yah, same thing we found in dyslexia. Yah, meaning that's the God principle, the I am principle. So yeah, excuse me, you have the I am, the destructor, porne. Usually you can find the meaning. You read it backwards. The I am, porne, the destroyer. Okay. Now you have many songs with California in the title. Look at California by Maze, which just happens to be a group that uses a lot of Hindu imagery. Why? Well, the hand, their very logo, the six-fingered hand, that is a fallen angel, a representative of the Hindu fallen that you find in the Vedas, doing battle with one another in the skies, in their chariots, flying machines. And again, California dreaming. I maintain that's directly related to mind control and illusion, getting people out to California, where people call it the La La Land, and no disrespect to my brothers in California. Lots of wise, civilized warriors and teachers in California stand up. Again, we can look at anybody's town and anybody's city and or state, and we would find some issues. Okay, well, with California, we just broke down the meaning of the name. We know the nature of the place. It's the home of the porn industry and Hollywood. California love. Well, Pop and Dr. Dre, who we know was probably really into California love, decided to do a post-apocalyptic video, which is post-apocalyptic just means after. Post means after. Postpartum. Post means to come behind or after. So post-apocalyptic, opposite of pre-apocalyptic. Pre means to come before. So post-apocalyptic means after the judgment. So the way they was dressed and looking, it was to mirror Mad Max, which was a post-apocalyptic movie, one of the most famous post-apocalyptic movies. And Tupacalypse was very much interested in the apocalypse, but I maintain it was more of a record company, a Luciferian director behind the scenes coming up with the imagery that would be like a predictor for but even worse, a promoter of the post-apocalyptic style and idea that they were still going to be here, when everything gets funky, and that they was going to be wilding out and it was going to be all good. You see them partying and doing everything, just like in Mad Max. Mad Max is a good movie to see. California Love video is based off of Mad Max. And then you've got Leon Ware. That's why I came to California. Ironically, both Leon Ware and Maze have connections to Marvin Gaye, who was very well versed in these things, according to his own book and his biographer, David Rich, The Divided Soul. So we got love and Evo. Okay, Karis One famously said, "Love's gonna get you." Well, we say the word evil like this. I know it's spelled with an I, but what I just show you guys with the vowels, only Vincent Price says it was an I. Vincent Price says evil. You don't say evil. You say evil, just like that right there. Love's gonna get you. So I thought it was very key when I saw the commercial for a new cell phone called Evo, and the way that they did the phone ad where they said Evo Love, and that was the phone ad. And then of course Ron Paul had a campaign slogan, Evolution. All praises. Proverbs 18:4, 1 Peter 3:10. Okay. All right, my Macmillan Dictionary of Illustrated Definitions had a section before each, as you got to each letter. When you got to your section on A's, it showed you the progression of the letter A, sign, and B, same thing, C, so on and so on. Well, that's going to be part 3. It looks like, because we're winding down to 20 seconds, and I've got about 3-4 more pages, and we're not going to get all of that in 10 seconds. But I do, again, I thank you guys for your support. You want to get a head start, kind of look at these things, kind of know where I'm going to go maybe in a minute. Shalom.
The world will tell you instructions and directions what it's offering. It's making an offering to you because you are altar to the world. What I mean by that, you claim, not pointing fingers. We. I don't want to feel like I'm talk like I'm better than people. I might talk like that. Okay, I apologize if I do. Forgive me. Well, forgive me, not apologize. Forgive me. But I don't anymore. But I'm with you, right? We claim to be adults. Let me find my. I'll do that in it, baby. Oh, that's what I did with it. Uh, I don't forget how to use this thing. I used to claim to be an adult. That I'm a child of God. I'm a child of my Father, and I had a right. I have a right to dumb free. I have a right to be free dumb. I have a right to freedom, which is I'm a child of God. I'm a child of my Creator, my Father, Maker. There's so many titles for him, right? And because I feel like think I comprehend English, I feel I can express a feeling of being created. So when we become adults, we went to out. Add means to. Like you add two things. When you add, you have two or more figures to add, which some call numbers or symbols or whatever. So when you go to out, you possibly are committing adultery. Or alter alter you. To alter you, because why is you or ya? How you doing? Hey, how you doing? We call you ya. Which I had an easier way to do this, right? Yeah, we call you you. We call you you. We call you the letter U. We call you ya. Or I do. I call you ya. I say, hey, how you doing? Yeah. Hey, how you doing? You and Yah. Let me see if I can easy. We call you, or I call you Yah, from copying you. Y'all, we know how that word y'all trigger a whole nother conversation, right? Like right now, who is y'all? Y'all could, but we call you y'all, right? Or why? We call you why, like we ask you why, which is you. Why is you, right? So to alter, why? But we read like this, like emergency, right? We'll say E. um, it's other words, I just can't think of them right. Well, we'll pronounce it Dion, right? We'll say D in the name Dion. So you can pronounce these words. This how you see what's right there. Like this how you see what you always see, but I'm put it in my own words because it's a feeling. But I might not get your feeling. I might not get what you are feeling in the proper English pronunciation to express you feeling. Um, I say it that way because the ones around me, they always, I feel people are the way they are, right? Like, and they always um, don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm expressing a feeling. When you are seeing like this word adult, and you said a. Some people say it like that though, right? Adult or adult. Like you could say this word is D or dumb, F re or free. And now this is where I'm trying to express a feeling that you may feel I might not get it right, right? You don't want to get an F. You don't want to get an F, and it's causing, I feel it causes one to keep pronouncing this word as free. Even though some words you like Dion, you could say Dion, and some words you could say adult. Some words like emergency, right? You could pronounce it with the first letter as what is the letter is called, like cat, ciat. But I know people don't want to get an F, even though it was a long time ago. They still don't want to get an F. So where you see it, for example, cat, where you see at, or just your eyes, right? With or just your eyes, where you see at, it's cat. So where you see at is cat. Now, and when you, I guess God placed me where He placed me, so I can be able to express this way. Everything is made of matter. Matter is flesh or anything that takes up space. So anything that takes up space is matter, which is most likely flesh, and it came from something that was once living, like a tree, an animal, a plant. Um, It came from something that was once living, which is matter, which is the cells or the egg of the mother that carries the seed in the egg. So flesh is your mother's flesh. They call it cat. I'm not being when you don't make your mind nasty, you can't hear people talking nasty. I think you think because we think we comprehend, we tell ourselves nasty stuff in our own mind from how we assume one another is expressing something. So if you didn't have that if you don't have a lustful, horny, freaky-ish mind, I can't say what it's called because it might be good to you. You probably call it good and never thought you was freaky. I can't say. But if you have this kind of mind, or don't have it, right? You don't have it. Then when people speak of cat, like um, the box, the Virginia, they call it a state, but you don't see that freaky stuff. So it allows you to see where you at. It allows us to see at or cat, because everything is made of matter or flesh, which is the womb, which is the cells or the womb of your mother. Unless it's a test tube thing. I mean, then it's where you see at, which is cat, all around you. So when you become an adult, you go to altar. You go to an altar and you add an ego. Well, we're gonna later tell you that's your ego. I feel, this how it was with me, because when I was a child, I don't know what ego is. Matter of fact, I don't even think people even spoke of that word until like teenager, what they call teenager ages. I'm on my way to being an adult, huh? Okay. What's labeled as being a teenager is when I start hearing this word ego, still not knowing, having an idea of what it means. So when you add this ego, which is your world character, everything go together, right? It's going to lead right to what I wanted to show in the first place. Your adult is your ID or identification card, where you have a worldly character that's kind of like opposite of who you are. 'Cause I call you love. The real you, we will later call you love. Because love is why one's standing. Love is why matter can have a shape or hold its form. Why matter hold its form, a living being in it, it's because of love. Some call it God, Jesus, light. But you are love. And if your character is not love, your ego, your adult, you're acting. Your adult, who seems like a protector to get you through something called life, the struggle, hardships. This just how it is. It's your protector of your love, but your love don't need a protector. It's the character we add on, which is add to alter, like alter ego. It's a character we add on to us to do something called survive. Because everything is yours according to God, and you get to earth and we, because I'm out here talking with the others, in your ears. We like charging you, attempting to charge you to live, call it rent, mortgage, bills. Um, so the real loving, no, this don't make sense. Is yours. And why that's why some children or a lot of us ask or say we didn't ask to come, or why you bring me here? Because in our loving, true loving spirit, we know something ain't right. You know, later where they will call them that person that's in you that love a lame, or you that's crazy that you don't think to pay rent or mortgage or bills. You know, educated people that are adults gonna think that, something wrong. So we hide our true self with our world character, which is an adult. So how one gets in this place, right? Like, you think you comprehend. You think you comprehend us. Or I think I comprehend you. When I'm telling myself what comprehension is, you never told me, even if I read it in the dictionary. The dictionary never told me, and you never told me. I told myself. I told myself what a salt and pepper shaker is. That's why I can bring it to you if you ask for it. That's why I can bring the salt and pepper to you. Because I told myself what salt and pepper is. And I know it's hard. I don't know it's hard. To me, it's easy. It's easy to realize you're telling yourself 1+1 is 2. You telling yourself, but you gonna blame your teacher. You're gonna blame your parents. You're gonna blame others that they taught you, teach you, or taught, which is your thought. Taught. And you claim that you was taught by other people. I feel you lying to yourself, but I can't say. I feel I would be lying to myself if I told you that you told me what salt and pepper is. I feel I'm telling a lie to myself. I'm feeling a lie in myself. So I told myself 1+1 is 2 so that I can get an A with you. So what's the difference from this and this? Hold on, let me write it in a clearer place, right? What's the difference from this and this? It ain't no difference. So this right here say 1+1. But I know people, they want to get the A. And they're gonna say, well, you got these lines right here, so that's a square, or whatever you're gonna say it is. This is a square. So what's the difference from this? Because this equals 2. This equals 2, right? I could just put that right there. This equals to this, right? So 1+1 equals 2. So I just say this to you, well, what I feel you might feel I am saying. I'm also saying this to you. So 1+1 is 2, so I can get an A with you. This is the one I feel you're going to see. And you might see this one now too. You might. So I just say it to you to get an A with you. I'm copying you, what I told myself to do. I told myself copy you so I can get an A, right? Like, if I don't know this, you might not give me a job. You kind of get what I'm saying? So I just copied you to get a job. Basically, do something called survive. The adult. I did this to one day be an adult. Basically, which is I came to to understand how to spell, but I no longer want to understand how to spell because I have a right to freedom. And you can get treated like you're this because you're your way of knowing, or my way or ours of feeling truth is where we stand. And if you've never been to, I don't know, Mongolia, then it could be a goal you're gonna finish on Monday, right? Which is Mongolia, right? So you'll be looked at possibly like you're this, right? Because you feel like a goal set on Monday is Mongolia, and the world is saying no, it's, I don't know, somewhere you never been, right? Like some place you never witnessed, like with your own eyes in real life. So you look like you this, possibly, because truth in your face, and the only thing we talking about is what's in your face, because that's the only thing you know. That's the only truth that you know. If you go to court for anything and you tell truth or share truth in court, then you're going to share your real true life, because that's the only truth you know. Now, paint, like a cat, right? Like like a four-legged animal. Do you see one there? There's no cat there. It's scribble or it's paint. It's something called marker, which is paint, and there is no cat there. So all paintings of any character is paint. It's no lion, no cat, it's no railroads. There's no people hanging out at trees, um, under trees. It's nothing there. But these paintings one day cause you paintings, right? You could be in pain and you realize you fell for it. You fell for the paintings of the world. And if you really look, the world is only made of paintings. But some people feel outside or inside, outside the building. It's, it's such a thing, right? Like, they feel the outside is the world. And ants, dogs, people in real life. I feel that's what your father made, or word of God. Um, that's what your creator had placed before you. If you walk about the land, everything is about you that walk about the land, right? And the world is made of such a pain. Like this screen you may be looking at. This is lights, pixels, which to me change different colors. Like the pixel, this pixel is green, and then there's another pixel that's white, and another pixel that's blue, which is paint. But you're educated, and it's a high level, advanced level of painting. So you call it pixels and screens, and you have trying. I don't know if you're avoiding that it's paint, not just this paint. Your screen with painted lights. Your screen itself, like it shows you a bunch of paintings made of light. which is the world. The world is a bunch of paintings, and it began with pain for a reason. Because to me, when you wake up and realize you fell for a bunch of paintings and real life truth, the only truth you know is in your face. We call you an adult, like we looking at you and your body got bigger. Some people don't sense that they got bigger, but you know, some people do. But you got bigger, and now we look at you as an adult. Why? To me, you still that child from when you first came. You still that child. Like how old you feel older or even younger? Like you, the real you, the one we never seen, the one that's stinky. Like how old you feel? I think you don't feel you get older. I think you don't feel that. I think we acting that because we looking at each other. We acting we getting older. To me, you the same one that got educated day one. That's now. You just acting like you're an adult. Act like an adult. They tell you, right? They tell you. Act. Acting is not you. They telling you, right? Like they telling you. Stop being the child and act like an adult. So stop being the child of your father that don't know what trees are made of. Bark, leaves, or what that's made of. Spirit. Yeah. Can't no one tell. Only he that's in you, which is greater than he that's in the. It's literal. Only he and you can tell you what that tree made of. If I tell you, you're gonna tell yourself. You're gonna tell yourself what I'm telling you. I feel. Some people don't know what you're saying in another language because they didn't tell themselves. So only him inside of you. That's to me. He more intelligent than me. He know more than I know. And this stuff that I'm expressing to y'all, I didn't know, or I was asleep. But he was telling me while I was sleeping, while I was lost, he was telling me. You know, I'm trying to get an A with you, right? Like I'm trying to get an A with you. So I always kept it like this. But he was showing me this, the one inside me. He showed me that, but I kept it like this for you or y'all. So I can always get an A with you and feel like I guess I'm part of your world or something. Like you're this big old future y'all claiming that I made up. This great bright future I made up in my own head. If you feel what I'm saying. Which is outer, right? To out. Two altars. Two is two. And also add. Add is two. So advertisement is two advertisement. Adversary is two versary. And when you start reading it like that, you realize that dang, this stuff in our face, we get what we ask for. And when we turn around, we go see literally, like, because the world is your screen and your paintings. You're going to see a black man's world. I think they weren't asking for you that has brown, red bone, yellow bone, or high yellow tone of skin. I think they was talking about black, like they was talking about, because they ain't talking about your skin color. You red bone, right? Like, I don't know. They wasn't talking about your skin color, because if they was, then the white of your eyes and your teeth, I don't know if you could say your teeth is skin. They're going to say, bone, we educated. But you a white man by the white, if your teeth white, right, if they are. And if your eyes still white like when you was a child, you also a white man if you're going by the color, your hair, what they say, because your hair is black and your pupil is black, right? So is that why you call black? So why red haired, natural red haired, red bones are called black? To me, black is uncleanness. According to English, black is evil. Black is no life. So I feel when you look around in the world, you're gonna see a no life man's world. You're gonna see an unclean man's world. You're gonna see a unclean lives matter world. They so cute. Like when they be talking to you, when they be talking to you, they be so cute to you. Like they cute when they doing the Black Lives Matter speeches and gatherings for you, and they be talking to you all cute, and there ain't no way they unclean. Like it's no way they talking about an unclean world. Like, because of how cute they talk to you. how sweet they talk to you. It's no way that they talk in English. So only skin color is what is the only symbol when people are talking where you can separate this from what it is in the dictionary in the English language. Like your mind sees skin color, I guess body shape, and to me, paintings, but you might call the trees you see in real life the world. It's like black and white is the only time where you could place people instead of the meaning. Like white means clear, like a clear plastic sandwich bag is white. But people don't feel that white is clear. They see people. So they place people in place of the meaning in the English language of the word. Black mean evil. So when you wake up, which is pain, when you wake up, unless you really with this, unless you notice mean that you really with it, it ain't no surprise to you. But those that ain't with being unclean, they ain't with being evil, they ain't with lack, they ain't with lack, that they weren't making it for you. Protest, right? Well, they had you protesting even though you ain't even go to the Million Man thing, right? And you'll be in your neighborhood talking with your community of friends and family, neighbors, talking about the black man, black woman going, need, was, here, is, and it's like you protesting what this mean in English. And it's like you asking for this in English, but inside you seeing people. It's sad. It says so many could fall for this, or they all is with it. And Wayne, you the only one who don't want to claim you with it, because some don't want to be this, right? Some don't, and they don't go around and say they this, right? It's okay. But then right here, it's like, it's not okay. It's like people can debate with you. Like, you is that real life story. And I'm like, I'm not. And they like, but you is. And I'm like, I can't tell you. You telling yourself what that is. But to me, you saying I'm this. You saying I'm unclean. You saying I'm not pure. You saying that I'm evil. And that I don't have life. And I don't want to claim it with you, even though I'm in the world, not of the world. So when you wake up, those that don't want to have nothing to do with being unclean, you're going to see a black man's world. Or you could put people right there, because it's all this strange stuff, just people, right? All this strangeness going. That's why the world's strange, because it was strange from the start. It's pain. The world's a bunch of paint. All that you learned of the world was a bunch of paint, and it's gonna cause you to feel the painting. Wake up, please, because when you go into adultery, which is to lust for flesh, some say another man's wife, which is also that, for the sons of God, seeing the daughters of men, and took wives of their choosing. So when you go into labor, they call it going to work. Brothers and sisters, they call it going to work or labor, and you are having children with the world. And some like, well, how? Because you in labor, right? And God said, since you ate from the tree, then you will have labor pains. Woman, which to me is flesh, or my flesh is called Felicia. You say flesh to keep me feeling comfortable, and you won't say Felicia because you might think you calling me, you calling my flesh a woman. So brothers, so I say when you ate from the elementary, you will one day get a job or a labor. When you eat from the elementary, you will one day be in labor, brothers and sisters, and you will feel literal labor pains, literally. Becoming an adulterer or becoming an adulteress, which is lusting for the flesh. How can you say that? Well, some want to be a football player. They put it in your face, right? Some want to be a football player, basketball player. That's one of the top things of what you want to be when you grow up, question asked. Football player, basketball, right? Which is flesh. To lust, to hold a ball made of literal flesh. Then you are committing adultery. You are a committed adult. Like you an adult, you commit to being one. They talk to you just like this. They talk to you just like the Bible. Like, to me, everyone talks Bible. So you commit to be an adult, which is you add an altar to the real you, which is been demanded. They talking about demand time, where they demanding people. Demand. END, right? Well, excuse my strange writing. Demand, right? You came under demand. And some might feel like, no, my relatives, neighbors, and this um were generous giving people, and they didn't control, or they weren't controlling, and I didn't see demands. In some families, yeah, they seen demands, like a lot of them, or most of them in real life, seen being demanded to be or do something. And those that didn't see it, you are demanded to stop at the stop sign. And I'm not telling you to run it, but you're demanded to stop. Stay on the side of the yellow line. Um, that's a command or demand. So when you come up under demand, which is to remove, I cannot. Demand. They call it demon, or you're the man, right? To remove, take away, demand. You put a D on there like it's past tense, or DED, demanded, or demand, like the removal of man already, which is demand. So man is love, or your mind. Your mind is love. Your man is love. Your flesh is woman. So when you removal of your man and you become a fleshly thinker, woman, then you have been demanded flesh and lust of the flesh, right? Right back to the lust of the fleshly loving person. You are committing adultery. Those that lust for the flesh has committed adultery already. And you know, when you're in the world, you got these two sides. Like only brothers can lust for sisters, because you know that kind of way. But no, you can lust. You can lust for flesh, like footballs and basketball. Um, Worldly things made of flesh that has no life in it, like the dollar, right? Some lust to make dollars to pay bills. All this stuff is crazy. Like you if you hear it that way, lust for dollars to pay bills, or lust for bills to exchange for bills. It sounds crazy. It feels crazy. I can't say it sounds crazy because the world might say this makes sense, Wayne. And I'm like, but it feels crazy though. Like it feels like it's no life in it. And we acting adults, right? like we acting adults, like adults. And we just acting like we playing real life Monopoly with our life. And I guess it's hard to see. It's a game though. The world tell you, the streets tell you. That's what I wanted to show. The world tell you and the streets tell you it's the game. This game, the game to play. Right? You're playing the game. You don't know the game. So you have you. Took up my place in the center of the world, right? We have you on the cross, which is mine on or in the body or cross, a living cross, you. And then you have the world, you get a check. And then you have the streets, which is you get an upside down check. You get an upside down check. They call it paid under the table, which is in between a rock and a hard place. So street life is hard. And rock is things that stay the same. which is what the adversary will build his church on. The adversary, he gonna copy Jesus. So the adversary gonna build his church on the rock, which is the world or the office. Streets. So in the world, you get a green check. You become successful. And in the streets, you get an upside down green check. You can get paid under the table, which makes up this lightning bolt. When you put them together, you get a lightning bolt. Because it's gonna copy Jesus, what they call Zeus, or a lightning bolt. Like they say, God strike them down if they lying, right? And this is it. This is that strike of lightning from the world. This the world's lightning. He seen them as lightning fall from heaven, right? So as you in between this rock and a hard place, you were in a narrow path. How can I do this? Yeah. You in a narrow or an arrow. Straight and narrow. You're in a straight, narrow path, which is your senses or your truth. The laws of God, which is this will always, right? If you spin to your right, which is my left, they call it clockwise, it will always go forward. So if I keep spinning this pen, it eventually will fall out my hand forward. And if I spin it your right, which is my left, it'll come back in my hand like you're doing now, which is the law of God. So when you spin anything, it could be a box, it could be something round. When you spin it to the right, it'll go forward, away from you. When you spin it to the left, it'll come back to you, which is the law of God. So a cup, why you could put things in the cup, because that's the law of God. The rules that everyone has to follow, no matter how rich or poor they is. The laws that everyone follows, whether they poor, rich, whether they handicapped or not, or whatever color. So as the world strike you with lightning, if you let your love go, then you can end up in a black man world. And which is a don't carer. You go from love to don't caring. You go from love to don't give a F. You go from love to you ain't doing no more. I ain't doing that for a man or a woman no more, and all that stuff we say when we are disappointed in the lightning that was struck upon us from the world. And we start wanting to drop our love and start joining the side that mistreated us, basically, right? Like we drop our love to join the side that's mistreating us, knowingly or unknowingly. And you become a don't carer, a don't give a effer, a so whatter. Some y'all know what I'm talking about. So when you do that, you separate from what's called God, and you hate it. You hate that love back there. They call it a lame. It'll make you lame. You'll be lame. And you hate that love back there. So you become, I don't know where you could be a goat over here. You can be a goat over here. Goats bullies, right? Gangster, yeah. Gangster. And then you got world gangster. I mean, you got office gangsters too. They work together in the same movie. Cops and robbers in the same movie. Like you just watching the TV, they call you the fourth wall. Wayne, I don't know if anyone can feel you. You the fourth wall watching Coca-Cola and Pepsi compete on the same screen or the same side of the screen. And this stuff don't exist though. It's paint, right? But you watching these competitions and you could take a side like Xbox or PlayStation or Cowboys or Indians. And you could take a side, Cowboys to Office, Indians, streets. No dishonor, no dishonor to people, cops, robbers, whatever, y'all. Maybe I'm the only one who's supposed to be able to see this because this stuff is so easy to see. Like it's just sitting right there. It's just sitting where if you join one of these sides, though, you can be offending to the really you in the middle is the one being tricked. Because this lightning bolt it's a whole lightning bolt and it works together. So as you on the cross, you thinking of mine. The sun go across the sky as the moon go across the sky, which is a living cross, which is you. Everywhere you go, the sun and moon follow you. And what you seeing is true. When you was little and you was riding in the car and you looked at the sun, later on they told you don't look at it no more. And you was looking at the sun anyway before school and you was watching the sun follow you. It's true. It is true. And it's right there, like everything else. The sun, moon, and stars is right there, just like everything else. So choose the righteous path. Choose the right path, which is truth in your face. When you over here in the office, the earth go around the sun. When you over here in the streets, the earth go around the sun. But when you in truth, the sun, moon, and stars follow you, and they go around you, literally. You can see it. You can see the rise and setting. This is what we're gonna tell you it's called later on. You could see the rise and the setting of the sun, literally, which is right there, and it goes around you personally. But you're educated, and you want to keep getting that A. And they gave you those plastic models and those painted balls. Worship of ball. They gave you painted balls, and you really feel you see in paint, a bunch of paint, and you think you seen something called the solar system. You really think you seen it. That's paint. You want to look at truth for what it is, so you won't be deceived. So they give you a special table, right? They give you a table, and they say this is a special table. It was made from some of the most unique woods, and all this stuff, and you can start putting your ego, emotion, or your life into the table, and it came from some wood or a tree, and you could put all that stuff in there and not see it for what it is. And you call it a specified altar or something, or a dinner table, for example, a construction set table, or a workbench, or whatever. You want to look at it for what it is. So you see that what they call a cross with a bronze or a wooden character on it in some places labeled as churches. And it ain't no, if it was a man up there, you wouldn't go there. If it was a real man up there, you wouldn't be in that place. So you, with your real sense, life sense, you see metal. You might not know what metal. You might not know what wood, but that's some wood and metal, like Jesus said. Ain't no life in these things. That ain't no man. That's metal, smashed and banged, or rocks, banged up and melted and smashed into a shape called a character, or something called a cross. You want to look at it for what it is. But you'll see some will say, that's Jesus. Some will say that's Michael Jackson on a magazine, right? Michael Jackson went away, you know, they say Michael Jackson went away. And or whoever, right? You know, there's I don't know the latest stars nowadays. I'm still back there with Michael Jackson. Like I left TV a long time ago, even though I see the Kevin Gates, right? I guess that might be one of the up-to-date characters. Characters, paint, screens. The TV is the only character, and they got all voices. Like right now, if you might hear something call my voice, that's your speaker of your device. That's not Wayne. I'm right here. Wayne sitting on the couch talking to himself, right? But some might feel like this Wayne I'm listening to. And you listening to a device with a speaker in it. Rocks, metal. It ain't no life in it. You can see it following you. One day my dad on earth came to see me. And he was driving. He drove in a vehicle, and he said when we was outside talking, it was called outside. When we was there talking, he said it didn't look like this. We were looking at the sky. And he said it didn't look like this on my way over here. And I say it's gonna look like that because you was in a vehicle going a certain amount of something called speed in a time machine, and you fast forwarded your sphere of senses, or you fast forwarded, and your sphere of senses is coming behind you, which is your mind. So after we sit there for a little while, he said it looked just like this. He said when I was on my way over here, it looked like this, because your sphere of senses just caught up with you, because it follows you everywhere you go. That's why they call it street blocks. And that's why they call building blocks, because they are blocks. And you are being blocked from your senses, right? Like from you. So they call it the vanishing point, which is the straight as an arrow. And these walls, if you call them walls, these walls that's going along the side of you are your senses. Wayne, that's probably not a good picture for them to see it. Okay. As you look down the road or down anywhere, right? You want it could be in a box. You could be in a box and you look down the box, down the street, and you looking down the street, you have this what they call vanishing point or the horizon line, which it looked just like this. Well, not just like this. This paint. This is paint. But in real life, this horizon line comes up. It appears that the land is going uphill. If y'all know what I'm talking about when you're at the beach and you look at the ocean, and it appears that you can walk uphill. I mean, you feel what I'm saying? So right here is a wall. On each side, this floor, we call the floor, which is a wall. And the ceiling is air, right? Or it's also a wall that heads towards this vanishing point, which is your head or your senses. And then this wall is a nail in your hand. This is where one change color, right? When you being blocked by the buildings or the city blocks. I know there's not a good painting of my drafting skills. Or the city blocks, the blocks is blocking you from seeing these nails in your hand. There's some big old hands, Wayne. I know, I'm just rough drawing. To see these nails in your hand as you reach, well, man, if I could show you with this hand, right? They call the lighter side of my hand is a wall, heading towards the vanishing point. Which is these are nails in your hand. Not the building, the law of God. Not the physical thing, but your senses. So, so this is also a nail in your feet. See where you start to see the living cross, right? You start to see a cross that lives. You start to see which is multiply, right? Be fruitful and multiply. You'll see a cross that lives, which is the law of God. It can be buildings right here. It can be nothing right here. If you kind of get what I'm saying, this will one change color, right? This will one changes color and become blocked by the buildings and structures, and not looking at the clear white or the white of the egg, the clear white that's slippery. You call it your fingers dry, but they wet, and it's slippery, just like the clear white of the egg. They call it white, man. They telling you, man. They call it separate the yolk from the egg whites. They call it egg whites because white is clear. Maybe we call them white because we can look right through them or something. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But white is pure. White is clear. Black is unclean. It's dirty. Filthy. Like the world. Fill your mind up with the or filth. Fill your mind with the or filth. And why you can see nasty stuff when that's why Jesus to me talked the way he talked, because he knew you understood how to spell. And he talked like that to keep to separate the sheep from the goats, which is which is the lame, lamb, B is silent. Oh, you put a D there. The B is silent, lame, lamb, and the gangster, which is a goat. They claiming all this stuff. They claiming to be they claiming goat. They claiming the man time, right? The gangsters that hate lames. Gangsters, the one that the gangster talking about what he gonna do to him is the lame, is Jesus. Gangsters hate Jesus. Goats don't like Jesus or lames. They hate lames or lambs. So lambs are in the world, but not of the world. And we'll know his voice. And the goats, which is the wolves, right? Where Jacob mother had him to put on Esau's fur, which is the lame. The lame put on the fur of the gangster, or the lamb put on fur, and now the lamb thought he was a wolf, or a goat, but he was really a lamb, which is one that stays in love. Because when you stay in love, you're gonna be hated, because love is God and love is Jesus. And when you stay in love, people gonna try to pull you out of it, or be just mad at you for no reason. Where the reason is because you love, which is Jesus. That's why you hate it. You hate it because you stayed in love. But they saying they love me. You know them by their fruits. And some people love foolishness. Some people really do love it. You can see it. You can see the man chasers, which is, what do I do with that paper? Demon chasers, to remove the man from you, which is love, or your mind. Man is mind. To remove your mind from you, or your love. So bullies, which is a bully goat or a billy goat, that will headbutt you. The big goat or the bully goat will headbutt you, which is, they call him what? The man. He the man on these streets, right? So he will bully you if you lame, to remove the love from you, or demand you. So when you stay in love, you stand in God, and he'll heal you of all things. Why the child of God can do what he do? This is probably what the children of the devil don't know. Why he can do that? Because God heals him through love. When I died as a baby, I lived. And that was by the power of love, whom is God. So the love that some of y'all left, that love that y'all left was God. He's still there though. It's the real you. And you in your growing area, or you went to Pluto. I think somebody made a song about that. You went to Pluto, or down in your growing, or Uranus. You went to the planet Uranus, And now you like chasing BUT, excuses and explanations. You want excuses and explanations from lames to headbutt them to BUT, not it's the same thing, but BUT, y'all, to headbutt them, which is explanation or excuse me, like excuse me or excuses. So bullies want a man. They want to get them a man. Gangsters want a man. I know some people, man, just listen. I mean, they songs they telling you though, like it's all about other men. Like they put that, and then when they put sisters in there, they talk down about it because the evil one don't like Cat. Oh yeah, she was thinking that it was her cat that purred that was drawing him in or them in, but no, he don't like Cat. He like excuses from other men. But I know most people ain't gonna get it. I mean, you can see this stuff, man. He like a man to give an explanation for why he said what he said. He like to get an excuse or a BUT. Like, but you came to me first, bro. Like, but I ain't saying nothing about you. But that wasn't about you. Like, BUT, explanation. And sisters thought this was what they call a man, but he the man. He the man. But I guess she thought that he was the man, right? Like THE. And she didn't hear the D man. And she wanted a gangster, a bad boy, bad mean effeminate man. She wanted uh it's sad, bro. When they wake up, man, real sisters just acting like they want what them other sisters that know what's going on want, tricking them to want. Same thing, right, with this, with the gangster in the office in the streets, in between a rock and a hard spot. She in the same thing if she not with all that. She just acting. She acting to be in the streets or she acting to be in the office. And she can't see her straight and narrow path as well as he can. She have a man. She have a mind. She think a man is over there. He have a flesh. He have a woman. He think a woman is over there. Trying to find something right quick. So you were separated on the cross, right? Separation from God is called death. Separation from truth, this paint, y'all. It's truly paint. But separation from truth or God or love is death. So you separated from the straight and narrow path or the truth or truth that's in your face, clear as light. Clear as light. It come as light. Like it's clear as light and it come clear as light. Where you separated on the cross, in between a rock and a hard spot. Some will veer over, which is eyes or scales. Let me draw it first. And you delivered by the stork. You deliver to the streets or the office by the stork. Which is eyes. In Nazareth, they say put it on the eyes when they want to weigh some stuff. They put it on the eyes or the scale. So you veer over when you're under pressure. This is how you make. This is how you make diamond or demand. Through the pressure from the streets and the office, and you in between, and you don't have love, you'll be pressed into a diamond through pressure or peer pressure. Diamonds come from you. Gold, diamonds come from you, and you'll be pressed into literal diamonds and gold. God said that you was made of all the jewels. So that's where it come from. Everything come from something that was once living. Scales. Many have scales on their eyes, which is weighing, balance. In between the rock and the hard spot, delivered by the stork. And all these scales make a dragon, which will lead to, what does it lead to? In between the rock and the hard spot, it'll lead to dragons, dragon queens, or you'll be wearing drag. You'll put drag on because the mind is diction. The mind is diction, and it's being screwed around. Your mind being screwed in diction, taking turns, conversating, putting the conversation in, taking it out, just kidding with you. You know, you feel what I'm saying? I'm not just kidding with you. I'm just pointing out this process of turning you into diamonds, right? And which is scales of a dragon. I think you did it, Wayne. I think I did it too, but people might not have the patience for it because your way of expressing is by your design, Father. Yeah. It's for those that had ears to hear. And those that didn't hear, for the other thing is, some people like talking to people that talk like you. Like you, Wayne. You like talking to people that that talk different, talk English different. Like, what's up with you? What's up with you, Wayne? Like, you like talking to them, yeah, because they be showing me stuff, or you show me stuff through them. They be showing me stuff that just, you know, proper English speak people, you can't see it. So I like talking to them. Hey, remember me? Like the brother would say, remember me? Remember me? Remember me? Remember me? Remember me? Yeah, I remember you, bruh. Yeah. Yeah. I love talking to my people that talk the way they do. Yes, I do. Remember me? Yeah, bruh. Yeah, I remember you, bruh. Oh man, remember me? You laughing? Yeah, because it's funny. It's funny, man. It's almost like he was like, it took me a second to get on what he was saying. To get what he was saying to remember me? Remember me? Yeah, I remember you, bro. Yeah, I remember you, bro. Remember me right here. So he showed me I'm a member, bro. Remember me. Remember me, bro, like the one that the thief that was on the cross with Jesus was like, remember me. I got you, bro. I still remember you to this day, bro. Remember me? Remember me? What's going on through there, huh? I hope some get it. I know I'm different. I know my ways of doing is different than most people, period. Like no one talks like you, Wayne. I know. No one talks like me. Excuse me. Remember me? Remember me? Remember me? Huh? Remember me? Remember me? Yeah, bro. I remember, bro. Oh, ER is an A, right? Remember? Remember. Remember me. So A could be ER. ER could be A. Ultra. Purple. 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 Apple. Purple. Ear people. Bird people. Purple. Apple. Because A could be ER. Remember? Member. Remember? Remember. What in the, where did it go? Right? Very well in my face. It's in my face. It's in my face. Seems that way. Now there go one. Stay in love. Love is the only way. Stay in love. Love is the way. Love is way. They call it the way, which is love. They call it that. They're telling you it's love. They call it Christianity now. I guess if they told you it was love, people would have listened, right? There you go. In my face, as I said before. In my face, but I couldn't see it. All right. Might be. Oh, there's no one there, Wayne. You talking to yourself. That's how I always was. I'm talking to myself. Yeah, as you always was. But that was my showing of separating from the goat from the sheep. How one came under the man, even though I might not explain this stuff well to some almost. How one came under the man and was pushed down by that bully or that ego that seems to protect them, but he really don't like you. And when you come back up to the surface, when you resurface, when you me ashore or you are shore of me measure, then you'll see how your alter ego or your adult been tearing up stuff because it don't like love. Man child, What's a man child? A child of God. Because you got a mind. When you were a child, you had a mind. Well, still is a child, which is man. You already have a mind. You already have a man. Amen. You already have a woman whom is your flesh, your helpmate. You'll come together as one and become one flesh. You come from under your mother and father and become one flesh. And your first love is your wife, whom is your flesh. Your man inside of flesh, which is Adam and Eve. When you're educated, you'll separate yourself and you'll be fighting yourself. And you'll feel that the sisters is the ones that bring man here. And man, well, she have a man, she have a mind, brought us here in flesh. Because woman come from mind. Flesh come from mind. Some of your teachers will tell you that the seed is of the Father. The seed of man, of mine, is of the Father. So God pregnated every sister, unless it's like a test tube or something or something. God, your Father in heaven, pregnated your mother. Everyone, right? Immaculate birth. Everyone. The unique birth. Everyone, the one that came from out of nowhere or came from somewhere. Well, on earth, we're gonna say you came from out of there. I mean, where? We call it there, right? But yeah, to somewhere. This is where we are. We in somewhere, and you come from out of nowhere. So you must be born again. Thank you. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Father. Thank you. Thank you for showing me love and loving me. Thank you for showing me how to express love. Thank you so much. Journeyman. Meeting adjourned. Oh, my internet might have went out. They won't let me in. That's weird. Hmm. That's what happened. Internet went out. So they probably did leave. It just the internet